Welcome to the music notation module of Drum Ambition. Now today we're going to look at what we call the note value chart. Now before I go into that, I should explain that to understand music you really do have to get into some basic math. Now don't worry about it because it really is basic math, and I was not a math person. In fact, I'm still not really a math person, but we're just talking about basic fractions. So by the time you've watched this note value video and you've worked through the first few videos in Drum Ambition, you'll be quite comfortable with everything that you need to know. So don't worry about that part. So on the screen in front of you now, you will see a bar, and there is a note in the bar. I'll talk to you about that note in a moment. But the first thing I'd like to do is draw your attention to the numbers on the left-hand side of the bar. This is called a time signature. Now, we're not going to get too deep into time signatures in this first module of Drum Ambition, but it is important that we talk about this one. It's called a 4/4 time signature, and this is also known as common time. So let's talk about what these numbers are telling you on a time signature. The top number is telling you how many beats are in the bar, and the bottom number is telling you what each beat is equal to. Now that will make a little bit more sense when you work through the first couple of videos, but in the meantime, the top number is a 4, so there's 4 beats in the bar, and the bottom number is a 4, so each beat is equal to a quarter note. Now in the bar in front of you, you'll see those quarter notes written out for you. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now that doesn't mean that we're playing every quarter note, it's just telling us that that's the length of the bar. What we do play is the notation within the bar, and that's where we're going to start off with the whole note. So in the bar in front of you, you will see a whole note. Now whole notes are also known as semi-breves, but for the purpose of Drum Ambition we're always going to refer to them as whole notes. Now a whole note is played on beat 1, and it rests the remainder of the bar. So what that means is we'd play 1, 2, 3, 4. Now you could say that the value of that whole note takes up the entire bar. Now that doesn't mean that we're playing a note on beat 1 and holding on to it, like 1, 2, 3, 4, for example. It just means we're playing a whole note on beat 1, and that's it. So if I run a metronome, and we'll play 3 bars a time, our whole note looks like this, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. In this bar you will see half notes. Now as we know, there are 2 halves in a whole. So in this bar you see 2 half notes. Now the half note is on beat 1 and beat 3. So let's go back to the first one. We have a half note on beat 1. So we play beat 1, and we're resting the quarter note behind it. And the reason for that, remember, is because there are 2 quarter notes in a half note. We play the first note, we rest the second quarter note. So if I run the metronome, we'll play 3 bars of this, 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now half notes are also known as minims, but again we will refer to them as half notes in Drum Ambition. On the screen now you see a bar populated by quarter notes. Now this is one of the easier ones to understand. We know that there are 4 quarters in a whole, and there you see the 4 quarter notes in front of you there. So we're going to play each quarter note, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Now quarter notes are also known as crotchets, but for Drum Ambition we are going to refer to them as quarter notes. On the screen now you see a bar populated with 1/8 notes. Now 1/8 notes are not counted 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We count them 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So if I run the metronome, it looks like this, and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Eighth notes are also known as quavers, but again for Drum Ambition we're going to refer to them as eighth notes. In this bar you see 16th notes. Now we count 16th notes: 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Now we talk about this in great lengths in the videos, but 16th notes have 2 beams, so the 2 lines you see across the note are called beams. 16th notes have 2 beams, 8th notes have 1 beam. So we'll run 3 bars of time. 4 and 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Now 16th notes are also referred to as semi-quavers, but again in Drum Ambition we are going to refer to them as 16th notes. So on the screen now you will see a bar populated by triplets. Now we count these: 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. It's important to point out that there are other types of triplets as well. These particular triplets are called 8th note triplets, and they have a single beam along the top. But there are also 16th note triplets, half note triplets, quarter note triplets. We're not going to be looking at those in the first module of Drum Ambition. So we'll now play 3 bars of these triplets. 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. So I'm now going to play all of those subdivisions. We call those note grouping subdivisions. I'm going to play all those subdivisions for you now. And 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 triplet, 2 triplet, 3 triplet, 4 triplet. Now for each note that you have there is also an equivalent rest. Now I'm not going to get too much into this in this video because we do cover it at length in the upcoming videos, but I do want you to see them on your screen now. So on the screen now you see a whole note with a whole note rest. Now you see a half note with a half note rest. Now we have a quarter note with a quarter note rest. An 8th note with an 8th note rest. And a 16th note with a 16th note rest. And again, we'll cover those in great detail in the upcoming videos. So in these exercises we're going to use a metronome, and a metronome measures the tempo of music in beats per minute, often abbreviated to BPM. And I'll tell you at the beginning of each exercise what the BPM is going to be. Now this is a metronome at 45 beats per minute in quarter notes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now I like to add 8th notes on my metronome, and you'll hear them here. We'll talk about them in detail in the video, but you'll hear them. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3, 4. So you'll often hear that in the video as well. Okay, and with that you're ready to embark upon the next few videos of music notation. Good luck. Don't forget to follow the practice tips, and if you've got any questions you can always email support@drumambition.com. In the meantime, thank you for checking in and thank you for using Drum Ambition.